Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakakodash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all your sincere Kiang. This is your brother, Abawad, back again with another video through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakakodash. All praises and glory is due, especially in these times, right? And the title of this video is going to be, the Most High Yahweh Shabia Shai created the smith and the coals, right? The smith and the coal. I think that is hold on, let me try and get that precept real quick. You have to be with me that I still have a little bit of a cough and catarrh, a little bit of a cold. So that's why you see that my voice sounds the way that it does, and it's a little bit difficult for me to speak properly, right? But hey, right, but hey, the spirit has to, the truth has to still go out, man. And that is Isaiah 54, right? Isaiah 54. So let me start by getting that precept. So let's go to that in the book of Isaiah, the 54th chapter. That's like Isaiah, the 54th chapter. Alright. Hopefully I don't do like I actually do this video because this is getting serious. But anyway, let's go. Isaiah 54 verse 16. And it reads, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." Right. And this is basically, of course, going into first time, basically, of course, going into what we usually use it for is the nuclear missiles, right? We are going into the nuclear missiles and how you had initially Oppenheimer, right, creates these missiles, right? The first ones that were used, the atomic bomb, which was used on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, have what are they say, little man of fat boy or something like that, right? But the two atomic bombs that were used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the Most High, and hey, this is just to show you that the Most High, however, Hashem Yahushai put the spirit on Oppenheimer to create that bomb, right, in order to make those bombs and to further the advancement of nuclear technology that Esau Edom has made, so that he can use those weapons upon America, Babylon the Great. But this is not going to be a video going into the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. That's going to be another video, when the spirit hits me. But rather, this is a video going into exactly what the precept we just read is, that the Most High created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, right? So all your inventors, all your scientists that have made all these discoveries that you people that are in the world like to use to say that because we have these discoveries and because we have these inventions and because we know all these things that people have spent and because we know all these things about science and the universe and so on and so forth, that the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai does not exist anymore, or that there is no longer a necessity to believe in the Most High anymore, right? And that really is false, because all your inventions and all your inventors and all the people that came up with all these real scientific theories and their so-called understanding of the universe, they were all made, and that spirit to do all those things were put in them by the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So let's start by getting this precept. So this is the book of Job 33, and I'll start from verse 14. "For the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not." Right, because you people that are in the world, you do not understand or are able to comprehend or see the power of the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and the fact that He is the one as he's in control of all things. And science is not, because this is what you have these unbelievers always see, right? Like for example, Noah Yuval Harari, when he said that we no longer have a need for God anymore because we have science, right? We have guys like Frederick Nietzsche that said that because we have come into this modern era, and the idea of a God is dead now because, oh, we have all this knowledge of the universe and how things work. Now that we know that the earth is round, now that we know that the sun revolves around the earth, now that we know that we know all the now that we know what space looks like, and we can go to different planets, and we can see different planets, right? We now know that God is no longer real, you know, all kinds of bullshit like that. So you have all these so-called scientists and scholars in Esau's kingdom that will tell you that because we have the knowledge of quote-unquote science, right, that there is no longer a need to believe in the Most High. But where does that knowledge of science come from? It comes from the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, of course, because it's the Most High that created the scientists, right, and put the spirit on you to create those stupid ass theories, because most of this stuff isn't even actual fact. To create those stupid ass theories that you use to try to discredit the Heavenly Father, right? The Big Bang, for example, not proven, but people will still accept that. But people will sooner believe in the Big Bang, right? That there is no evidence for it actually happening, than believing in the Most High, Yahweh Shami Ashai, who has evidence in everything that has happened, not only in the scriptures, but everything that is currently happening in the form of Bible prophecy. But let's keep going into this precept. Job 33, verse 15. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. Right, so basically what it's showing you is that first and foremost, free will is false. It does not exist. It's a false doctrine from plantation Christianity, and that the instructions of a man, right, and your lot is set up by the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai, and this is what we call a predestination. That basically what you will do, right? Everything that we are going to do, our steps are ordered by the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. He's always in control of the things that are happening on the earth, which is why you always see brothers saying that, hey, the whole earth is a stage, right? It's all one great movie, and the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai is the director, and that's exactly what this is going into. So yeah, even the idea of people saying that, oh well, and this is just how stupid this whole thing is, right? Because you have these people that are in the world, these unbelievers, I'll say that, oh, because you are able to invent the car, right, or the plane, or anything of that nature, now suddenly the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai doesn't exist, right? Even though the technology to do all those things, the technology to it's like the raw materials to invent the car or the plane, where did it come from and who created it? Well, obviously it was the Heavenly Father, right? And this is the thing that you see with the people of this world, okay? Because they don't believe in the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai, because this is a carnal kingdom, right? And the kingdom, and basically this is a carnal kingdom, and as the scriptures say, that the carnal mind is enmity with the Most High. That's why you see that you have so many, not only unbelievers, but also those that are actively against the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? And the spirit of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. So now this is the book of Romans 8 verse 7. So okay, this is the book of Romans 8 verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. For it is not subject to the law of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai, neither indeed can be. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please the Most High, right? So now once you get this image, right, this which is basically an alleged quote from Nikola Tesla, which is one of the greatest inventors according to Esau Edom of the 20th century. Basically he's the one that invented alternating currents. So and he says, and quotes, the gift of mental power comes from God divine being. And if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in tune with this great power. Right, so even at that time, you had leading scientists like Nikola Tesla, and I believe Albert Einstein, right, also said something similar. But because I couldn't actually find a quote of him saying that, I'm just going to leave it at that. But basically, he said that the inspiration and the ideas for his invention and his theories came from a different source outside of himself. I think he said the universe or something like that. But that shows you that even your inventors, even these major scientists and scholars in this kingdom, they also know that the spirit of the Most High, Yahweh Sham Shai, right? And the Most High put the spirit on them to be able to create and to make and to invent whatever they do. So Albert Einstein comes up with the theory of relativity, and it's the Most High Yahweh Sham Shai that put that spirit on him in order to create that theory, right? Nikola Tesla comes out and creates alternating current, and it's the Most High that puts that spirit on him in order to create that, right? Louis Latimer comes out and creates the light bulb. Is the Most High Yahweh Sham Shai that put the spirit on him to create the light bulb, and so on and so forth. So all these inventions, right? All these not just the inventions, but also you have the theories and laws, right? The mathematics, okay, the music, everything was set up by the Most High Yahweh Sham Shai, and the spirit to create these things, right, were put on you people that are in the world, are put on you by the Most High Yahweh Sham Shai. So at the end of the day, it is still the Most High Yahweh Sham Shai that is responsible for all these things, right? So this stupid idea that just because you have an understanding of science, that means that you can suddenly remove the creator of the science. Because let's go into etymology right now. What is the etymology of the word science? Let's get that. What is the etymology of the word science? Okay, so yeah, science etym, and I already know what it means, and I've known the etymology of the word science since I was in secondary school, because I used to go to a secondary school that, all these Catholic secondary schools that usually have Latin. They usually speak Latin in it, right? So the school taught me a lot of Latin. So I learned some Latin in the school, right? So yeah, and then it's amor, scienta et veritas, love, science, and truth, which is funny coming from the Catholic Church. But anyway, right? Science, state or fact of knowing what is known, knowledge of something acquired by study or information, assurance of knowledge. And this is just a definition, but the actual etymology of the word science, it goes back to the Latin word scientia, which means knowledge, basically just that. And I can read right here from Latin scientia, knowledge, a knowing expertness. That's basically what your science is. It just means to know. Scientia, to know. Okay, so all forms of knowledge, and this is something that people in the world will never tell you because they themselves don't understand it. But all forms of knowledge, not just math, not just physics, not just your STEM, even linguistics, even agriculture, even sociology, these are all sciences, okay? All forms of knowledge is science, right? And that, of course, includes this truth as well. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Most High, however, Sham Yahshua is exactly that, knowledge. In other words, it is science as well, right? And then, that's why I always say that, hey, even brothers that are in this truth, we're all scientists out here, in the spirit, we're all scientists out here, okay? I have actual understanding of the scriptures, okay? Yeah, let's keep going into this. So I'll start by getting this next precept, and I got this in a previous video I did, but I'm still going to bring it out in here anyway as well. So yeah, this is the book of Romans 1 verse 18. For the wrath of the Most High, however, Sham Yahushua is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Right, so you have corrupted the creation of the Most High, however, Sham Yahushua. Right, the Most High, however, Sham Yahushua puts, or created the earth, right? The whole world. After all, you can we read about that in the book of Genesis, the first chapter, and the book of John, the first chapter. And the Most High, however, Sham Yahushai created the heavens and the earth. And now you're not giving the Heavenly Father his proper credit for his creations. But let's keep going into it. Romans 1 verse 19. Because that which may be known of the Most High is manifest in them. For the Most High, however, Sham Yahushai hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So so this is the big issue that you have in this world currently, where the power of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai that is being made manifest right before our eyes in these last days. The people of this world do not see it as the Heavenly Father doing these things. But let's keep reading. So now Romans 1 verse 21, because that when they knew the Most High, they glorified him not as the Most High, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Right. So rather than saying that, oh, the Heavenly Father, he puts, he arranged the earth and this, he arranged the earth, the stars and the planets, right? He hanged the world on nothing, right? As the scriptures say, they will say that, oh, it's all gravity, right? It's all gravity, Kepler's laws of planetary motion, right? Newton's laws of motion. That's what's keeping the earth and the sun and the moon and the stars basically in afloat in space, rather than actually the word of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai, which of course the scientists call gravity. Okay. And of course the spirit of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai that created the earth in the conditions that it was created in order to support life, which is of the divine fine tuning. Okay. But the atheists and the scientists will say that, oh, well, this is something that happened over the course of millions of years, right? And even they will admit that it's a 1 in a million billion chance for a planet to have all the proper conditions in order to support life, both externally and internally. Externally, meaning that you have to have the right distance from the sun. They now have to have a magnetic field, right? In order to protect the earth from meteor showers, which is basically what you get from the other planets that are surrounding the earth as well, right? That's why you don't really see meteors hitting the earth like that. Whenever you hear about the meteor, right, like a really big meteor coming towards the earth, it basically just always zips past the earth, right? And then you're now coming to the earth. Now you now have your oxygen, the right amount of oxygen and nitrogen in the air, or rather the right amount of nitrogen in the air in order to cause the oxygen not to explode, right? Anytime anything is ignited, right? the plants that basically you know the plants that basically exist, that taking the carbon dioxide and put out the oxygen in order for you the animal life to be able to live. Okay. The earth being conducive for human life, and all these factors, they just want to tell you, your average scientist will tell you that these things happen by chance, right? But as it is written, the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai is not the author of confusion, but of faith among the churches, right? So we understand that these things were all set up, and this is how the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai did order the earth, right, in order for man to be able to dwell within it. So let's keep reading. Romans 1 verse 22. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Right. So basically, rather than using actual living things, they'll tell you about all these different scientific theories that they use to replace the works of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushua. And this isn't me saying that, everything is just set up by the Most High, we don't need to worry about it or anything like that, which is of course another foolish narrative that you see the unbelievers push, that just because we believe in the Most High, that suddenly we are so stupid that we don't have any curiosity as to how the Most High, how Hashem Yahshai ordered the earth. Okay, but like I said, just because you know exactly how the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahshai arranged the stars and the suns, right? Arrange the earth and the laws of physics, does not make the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahshai any less real. After all, it's not written that it is the Most High that hideth a thing, right? And the joy of kings to search it out. Let's get that preset. Here it is. So this is the book of Proverbs 25 verse 1. These are also Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah king of Judah copied out. It is the glory of the Most High, however, Hashem Yahshai, to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. The heaven for height and the earth for depth. The heart of the kings is unsearchable, right? Just because you have something that happens naturally, you have something that exists, right, that you can't explain. That does not mean that you see the as Hebrew Israelites will now see that, oh well, the Most High just did that, so let's leave it at that. That's not how this works. Okay, the Most High, however, Hashem Yahshai has created the earth, right, the heavens and the earth, and really the entire universe, and we will have and be able to search out that knowledge on how these things were able to be done. That's why in the kingdom, in the kingdom, right, when we're in our glorified bodies, we will have far more understanding of matter, of the universe, of the atoms, of the stars, of the moon, of the earth, than what you scientists right now, what unbelievers currently have, right? Because even with all your advancements in science, you still have so many things that you are unable to do. Let's get that precept. That should be the book of Jeremiah. You cannot call a day that has already gone, which basically I'm going back in time. But let's get this precept first. Let me just use this one. Let me just use this one alone. So this is the book of Jeremiah 31 verse 35. Thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus saith Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done to me, saith Yahweh. And that's why you see that Esau is trying his hardest to map out the stars, right? Every other day you're hearing about a new exoplanet that is being discovered that is similar to Earth, only to find out that it is not quite as habitable as Earth. So, those your statistics about the chances of the Earth being habitable keeps on increasing and increasing and increasing as Esau keeps on making more discoveries. You find out that the Earth really is a very unique planet in that it is able to host not just life but the vast variety of life that you see on the Earth. Right? Esau is trying to get probes and space probes closer and closer to the sun in order to be able to block. That's why you hear about Bill Gates talking about how he wants to basically block out the sun and the moon because of this precept right here. That's why you see Esau in a campaign to search out the whole earth, right? But he's unable to go deeper into the earth because the deeper you go into the earth, the higher the temperature rises, and ultimately just the similar thing with the ocean, right? The deeper you go into the ocean, the higher the pressure gets, and you will be unable to venture deeper because the pressure will basically crush you, and the heat underneath the earth will basically just burn you alive, right? And even if you send probes, the same thing will happen to them. So yeah, so I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor and glory unto the Most High Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahushai Ba'Sham Raka Kwadash Wa Abad Babal Shalom, and through the Spirit, I hope you are calm and you are quiet and edified. Shalom.